Hey everyone, it's Dr. K. So working through an injury is challenging at times. You're in pain, some things aren't moving so well, and all you're trying to do is get back to the things you love doing. But you're not quite sure if what you're doing is right, or you're not quite sure if you're gonna make things worse. Let's assume for a minute, you had a minor setback, a minor injury, and you basically ruled out any red flags. This is something you can handle. But you're just trying to work through the problem. Some people will say you can't start to load the body up until you're absolutely pain-free and your form is perfect. Now, some people will say, form doesn't even matter, pain doesn't even matter, just load it up as much as you want and go with it. The reality is somewhere in the middle. If you're working through an injury and you're waiting for pain to fully resolve before you start to, move it around and load it up, you're actually doing yourself a disservice under most of those circumstances. You need to be thinking about how to desensitize those injured tissues, how to get them to start to move better, and basically how to start loading them up. That way they move better under load as they're healing. And then that way you can help prevent future injury from reoccurring. Now, if you're waiting for a perfect form to occur, that could literally be forever. Human body is complex and ever changing. And if you just take the idea of the basic forms and positions and movements we're trying to achieve in the gym or while we train out on the road, the body's basically constantly adapting under that stress and load. And so you may never be able to get perfect form because that's just not a reality. Now, think about if you're pushing yourself to a new PR, whether it's in the gym on a particular lift, or whether it's out on your runs, right? Whether it's your speed, your distance, etc. You're gonna expect your form to start to break down over time because the stress and duress that you're introducing to your biological system, to your body, that's, gonna change your form. That's just the reality of the situation. So, at Rebel Mobility Fitness, we're always pushing active recovery so people know how to take care of themselves and their body to repair the damage they're introducing through exercise. We're trying to help you maintain equilibrium there. Now, if you're just saying, I don't care what it looks like, I'm gonna throw everything at it, no matter what kind of form looks like, and you're just basically waiting for an injury to happen, and you'll be on somebody's treatment table at some point down the road. Again, if you're working on a personal record, on a lift or run, you're expecting your form to break down. But if you're just throwing everything at it and you don't care what it looks like, even at low loads, you're constantly, pushing, the red line on your body. And, if you're not thinking about your form or your cadence when you're training, that's just trouble waiting to happen. I had this great power lifter who came in my office. He's a really great guy, really strong. He didn't come into my office because he hurt his back lifting weights off the floor. He came into my office because he, threw out his back, and this guy could barely walk in because his back was so locked up tight because he bent over in his chair to pick up his sandwich for lunch. So do you think that sandwich all of a sudden weighed 1,000 pounds? Or was it the repetitive stress that he placed on his body, the incomplete mechanics, because he wasn't thinking about form, that led up to all the incidences of pain throughout the years that eventually led to the injury that he was feeling? So, what we helped him do is identify the flaws in his form, flaws in his recovery, flaws in his programming, and basically, we didn't tell him to quit doing what he's doing. We just changed and introduced new things into his programming. That way, he accounted for those missing elements so he could keep lifting into his 60s and 70s like he wants. I hope this has been something worth thinking about for you. I hope it helps you figure out how to look at your own body and how your own programming can influence your recovery, especially through injury. Learn from some of the mistakes other people have made. That way you don't have to make them yourself. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you need. Stay strong, inspire others.